Well, warm welcome, one and all. Welcome back to my channel. Yes, welcome to the kickstart for the fundraising for Dementia UK. And I have none other than Will from Dementia UK. Welcome, Will. How you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Hi, everyone. Lovely
Hello.
to see you again, Donato.
Oh, it's great to see you. And just as a bit of a preamble for everybody, the format that we're going to go through with this particular video is you've probably seen me talk about at the Birmingham Black Country Half, where I ran in the Dementia UK. Yes, here's the vest. I better hold this up the right way, hadn't I? Yeah. Anyway, I ran with this vest for the first time, Dementia UK. So I'm raising funds, London Marathon for Dementia UK. I'll go through later in terms of the whys and wherefores. We'll have a bit of intro from Will so we can explain who he is and what he does, because obviously he's a very important, critical part of the guest on here. And then we'll go through what Dementia UK do and how you can help in terms of supporting Dementia UK, both in terms of donations, and there is a link in the description there, but also other ways where you can help us. So yes, Will, welcome. Yeah. It's great to see you on here. Thank you so much for giving your time, because I know you do have a very busy schedule there, and you're in your offices in Dementia UK, and you've got one of those lovely mugs, haven't you? I've got the Keep Calm, Carry On. Which one do you got?
Yeah, I've got milk, sugar.
Hey, I like those. Yeah. I do like the colours. So, Will, tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of, you know, what you do, background, how you came about working for Dementia UK, and also what is your role? I gather you're like heading up the London Marathon 2022 fundraising for Dementia UK. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a challenge events executive is my official title at Dementia UK, and I look after everyone who's running the London Marathon and as well as some other events as well. All running events and fundraising for Dementia UK. So you know, it's always been a dream to work on the London Marathon, and you know, I'm really pleased to be able to be involved with it through the sort of charity sector. Yeah. As you know, London Marathon is an amazing opportunity for charities in particular, even since like its inception, right through to, you know, the 2020 sort of introduction of virtual. It's always had a real sort of charities and fundraising aspects sort of integrated into it, and so you know, we have a limited number of places. We always get many more applications than there are places available, but then we also have a big team that come on board with their own place. So people like yourselves, who've got their own place in the event, and want to you know, in a personal connection to the cause, and wants to do something, you know, do something a bit extra with their place, as well as sort of take on and experience the amazing event day itself. It's still on my bucket list, I have to say. You know, I get immense pleasure from seeing people across the finish line and sort of, you know, helping them along their journey to the start line and beyond.
You say it's on your bucket list, Will. You are a runner as well, and you've got a great story, which I'd love for you to share about the. I love the Hackney Half. I love many half marathons, but I have a vivid memory of the Hackney Half because I think it was my first ever half marathon, running in over 30 degrees Celsius. And I think it's always that popular time of year in May, and you get hot weather. But tell us that story, because as I say, you are a keen runner yourself. So it's not as if you've come into this and you're like a professional challenge and adventure type manager. You do actually run yourself. So tell us a bit about that particular race. I mean, it's so you've got to share it with us.
So I mean, it was you know, after sort of periods of traveling and sort of working abroad as an English teacher, I decided to sort of enter the charity sector in the UK, and I was working with like a grassroots organisation before I joined Dementia UK. It was a sports-based charity working with children with disabilities. So we ran sessions on the weekends and things, and we ended up finishing every session with, you might remember them from sort of play school, or if, you know, if you've got children, you know, there's like a big parachute, multicolored parachute. And there's like various games that you can play with it. And it's just a sort of nice sort of visual thing to a visual sort of cue to end those sessions. And anyway, so with some volunteers that come along to the sessions and help out, we decided to club together and run the Hackney Half one year as a bit of a fundraiser for the charity. As I said, it was quite a small charity, a grassroots organisation, and we actually did manage to raise a fair amount. I think it was over £20,000 actually between us all. Yeah, I mean it's quite
that's incredible.
It's a very volunteer-led charity, that charity, and so there were lots of volunteers that we could draw upon, and once we spread the word that we were going to do it, like everyone jumped on board. So it was a nice achievement. But actually on the day, me and a couple of the other coordinators and some of the key sort of like volunteers that have been with us for a long time decided to run with the parachute itself.
I can almost picture this.
And as you say, it was really hot. It's always at that sort of hot part of the year, just sort of spring sprung, so we were sort of running around and providing shade for people, and then and also I guess it was we had to work, we had to go at the pace of the slowest member of the team. Running as part of it. Running for me has always been a sort of personal sort of challenge. It's a way to sort of deal with the stress of the week or whatever, or release, just get out of your head and just really enjoy it. It's quite a personal thing, I think, running sometimes, especially if you're sort of going for PBs and things like that.
Absolutely.
And so to actually take that sort of personal challenge and competitiveness away from it was actually really nice. So we were like 6-7 people in the end, all holding onto the parachute, running around, and if someone had to stop,
and it was fully inflated. Fully inflated.
No, it wasn't fully inflated. So it's basically it's just huge. It's just like it's like a big circular disc.
Well, it's a full parachute.
With a little hole in the middle, and so we would be wafting it up and down and just putting it above our heads. I mean, it's big. It's designed for a sports school, so if you can imagine, it's like I can't.
You took over Hackney with it, basically,
It was a fantastic thing to do, and then people were stopping. We were playing games with it all the way through, and it was. So
you're giving me ideas, Will, that maybe I should try that at London, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe something else.
I don't know. We did have to. I think we had to contact the race organisers to let them know what we were doing. Beforehand, but
because it's a
if
large
I'm honest, it was one of my colleagues that organised it. So I was just one of the team that joined in on the day, and it was fun. And we still managed to get a fairly decent time, if I remember rightly. It's about 2 hours 15 minutes or something like that. So not bad.
I mean, it's brilliant, isn't it, Will? Where we can do things like this as a group, raise some money. I mean, over £20,000. That is phenomenal. For that as a group. Maybe that sets a challenge for me. 20,000. But hey, remember this, guys. Get those donations in. But it's an amazing sort. And clearly, you enjoy running. Lots of people enjoy the running, which I can really tell. It's fantastic. But because people often ask me why. Or the question would be, why am I running for Dementia UK? And as you touched on, is whilst it's not a charity place, and as you say, charity places are quite limited. I've got a good for age qualification. I decided to run for Dementia UK, and the key reason for me was literally the last London Marathon, where it was the day before, so it's a Saturday night, and I got a text message in my family WhatsApp group that my aunt Camilla had been taken into hospital all of a sudden, and was basically, that was it. So I ran London Marathon quite tearful, the whole of London Marathon the following Sunday, just thinking of her. And she passed literally the 2 days later. Very upsetting for me. But, I wanted to do something on that Sunday, but you can't do anything, when you're told at 6 p.m. on a Saturday night. So I then decided, speaking with my cousin, and that we would do something for his mum, my Aunt Camilla. And she'd lived for a number of years with dementia. And we'll go into detail in terms of dementia and what it is and how Dementia UK can help. But from my perspective, and I won't go into all the detail because it is very upsetting, but basically when you go and see someone for me, I grew up with my aunt. She was my dad's sister. And from the day I was born, there's pictures with all my other aunts and uncles. She was there at my baptism. And we grew up together. We were very close. Me and my cousin, we used to go on holidays together in Italy with my aunt, and we'd have some fantastic time. She was always the life and soul of the party. And to see all that suddenly disappear, and she couldn't remember or recognize myself or anybody, her son, my dad, it's very, very upsetting. But and that's why I'm running it, running London. So as you're saying, it's not about the time for me. Obviously, people who've been following the channel know that what I'm going through right now while I'm recording, I'm recovering for an operation and all sorts of shenanigans. So I think the run-up, pun intended, is it's not going to be the best of training sessions. But for me, raising the money for Dementia UK is more important than any time. So just to finish, I hope I'll be able to get enough and finish it. I'm sure I will finish it. But it takes the pressure away of the time. But also, it's a celebration more, and the run will be the celebration. I know lots of family friends will be watching it live on TV. And I'll be there. They'll be tracking us because there's various dots, isn't there, that we can all track on the app.
Right, yeah.
And so for me, that's why I'm doing it. But Will, tell us, because dementia is, we often hear the word being said, and there's, often other words like Alzheimer's and all sorts. But in terms of, we'll touch on Dementia UK, what Dementia UK is, and then we'll go into the details of what dementia is. So if you want to tell us what Dementia UK actually do, Will.
Yeah, so I mean, Donato, we've spoken before about your sort of personal reasons for joining the team, and wish you all the luck for the day, and it is a celebration of life, and many people across the UK have similar stories. I think it's a recent sort of stat that there's like over 50% of the UK population know someone living with dementia or have had dementia, and personally I think it's probably going to be a lot more than that. And so, yeah, I mean, just to go back a little bit to why I joined Dementia UK. I also have a personal connection to dementia. My grandmother passed with dementia. I've got a great aunt who also passed with dementia, and so for me, joining this charity was sort of a step into fundraising and towards that dream of working on London Marathon, but also very much like my own story and connection. And when I found out what Dementia UK do, which I'll tell you in a sec, I was like, this is the charity I want to work for, So Dementia UK is the specialist nurse charity. We basically fund Admiral Nurses who are specialists in dementia care, and they support not only those living with dementia, but also the families that often find themselves in positions of care, or caring for the person with dementia. I'm sure you've heard from your cousins and things what that impact of having someone living with dementia in the family has on just people immediately, but also extended family as well. The changes that they go through, it can, it's very stressful. It causes, it's a high cause of anxiety and stress. And so the Admiral Nurses are there for those that need support. And the Admiral Nurses are out in the communities, but also on the helpline as well. So it's an ambition of Dementia UK to have an dedicated Admiral Nurse in every community that needs one across the UK. We're quite proud to have over 350. We're sort of getting closer to that 400 Admiral Nurses out in the community mark. But that's across the UK. That's it's not enough, and there's a lot of work to be done. We also have, as I mentioned earlier, the helpline as well. So for those that don't have access to an Admiral Nurse, they can call helpline, and the helpline is staffed by Admiral Nurses as well, which I think is fantastic, because you know, you're getting through to that knowledge base of Admiral Nurses and the Admiral Nurse community. And that helpline is now open every day of the year as well, apart from Christmas Day. So it's really there for when people, and often it is when people are in sort of crisis mode, that they need to reach out and find support. So we're quite proud that that's available to them. And then a recent development through the pandemic, because as I'm sure you can understand, it, you know, it had a major impact on families. Couldn't see their loved ones and visit them in care homes and things like that. So we've started doing virtual clinics as well. So not quite the in-person support, which we know that everyone really wants and needs, but at least you get a bit of face-to-face time, if that's a bit easier as well than over the phone or via email. And so you know, for anyone who's got any concerns about dementia, or any you know, any questions or anything at all that they have, you know, that they need support with, I always say that, you know, visit the website. There's plenty of information on there. We've got loads. Can't remember the exact amount, but like it's over 100 different leaflets at the moment, on various aspects of dementia, and the sort of different sort of behavioural changes and how to like manage those and different things, and as well sort of the helpline and contact information is all on the website as well. I mean, that's, you know, the support is there for people, and part of running the London Marathon, I always find as well, is that as well as raising funds to fund those services that we're providing. And actually I should mention as well that we are completely reliant on voluntary donations. There's
no government assistance or anything.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think that was something that confused me when I first joined. Actually, you know,
it's not a private enterprise, is it?
No, you know, but also I always, you know, I thought, oh, it's a nursing charity. Surely there will be sort of, you know, NHS,
exactly,
something like that. And we are very much sort of embedded in sort of A&E services and hospitals and places like that. But the funding comes from people like yourselves, you know, raising money for us, doing London Marathon, other challenge events, you know, some corporate partnerships, but lots of different avenues, and all sort of voluntarily donated. So you know, we really appreciate every penny that's raised for us, because it just means that we can provide more support for families that need it.
Absolutely, and I can see firsthand from my trip to A&E this week that I did see Dementia UK, Admiral Nurses, and a phone number, contact details for that, because obviously people who arrive in accident emergency may have dementia, or family members who have dementia that may need some help at that time, which is really good. I mean, in terms of dementia, what's it actually do? I know it, you know, people refer doctors, you know, memory loss, but you know, it basically stops the brain working properly, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I just have to, before I start talking, I'm in no way a clinical clinician. I work in fundraising.
Me neither.
But yeah, the way I understand it and the way I've been told, and you know, I'm privileged enough to work alongside some of the people that work on the helpline when I am in the office. Is that dementia is actually an umbrella term for lots. I think there's over 200 different conditions and that affect basically the mind and the way it works. So, you know, a lot of people confuse sort of Alzheimer's and dementia and think that they're two separate things. They're not. Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. But there are also more, you know, many other different forms. So I think the the other one that the most prevalent ones are sort of frontotemporal dementia. So that's in the front of the brain there. And yes, there's many different symptoms. What I would have to say is that dementia can present in very different ways. As we know, we're all individuals, and so it's really the individual. In each individual case, it can be very different. There are obviously similarities. You mentioned sort of memory loss, and I often hear stories about people wandering and sort of trying to visit childhood places and sort of confusing family members for people from earlier childhood as well. So there are lots of different things, lots of different effects of dementia. But yeah, those two.
As you say, I mean, looking at my notes here, and I am referring to notes, as I say, I'm no medical expert. So as you quite rightly said, there are over 200 subtypes of dementia.
Yeah,
the most common being Alzheimer's, and obviously there's vascular dementia, Lewy body dementia. You mentioned frontotemporal.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
So many, and whilst the notes say affects people mainly from 65 and over, it can hit at different times as well.
It can indeed, yeah.
I've seen a lot of famous sportsmen where they've been suffering from dementia, from their 40s. So, as we say, it's different for different people, different lifestyles, affects people in different ways.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's basically anything that affects the brain cells working properly, and yeah, as you say, it can affect especially sports people. In recent years, it's been sort of noted that from footballers to boxers to anyone who's sort of using their head as as part of their sport, then yeah, it can affect. And there's other ways that you can develop dementia. You may have an accident, but then as a result of that, you'll have a form of dementia just through the sort of impact and damage to the brain. What we understand is that as a dementia, it's that it will not only sort of stop it, but that it will get worse over time as well. And so those time frames again are very sort of down to the individual, but it can be a matter of a couple of weeks, or it can be years and years, and we know that process can be quite long and impacts families. Impacts families for quite a while, a long time, and they need that support. And so to be able to pick up the phone to an Admiral nurse and get answers to questions, or it's also navigating the world of the health world. I mean, it's often it's not something that you think about until it happens to you, is it really?
Exactly.
And then you're sort of thrown into this situation where you're having to speak to GPs, and you have to speak to people on behalf of the person living. It's all of those really sort of nitty-gritty details that we find that the Admiral nurses can help with. And second to families calling up, we actually have professional carers as well, calling up and using the helpline and using our services to be put in touch with Admiral nurses. And all of that support is through sort of fundraising, through the London Marathon and other events like that.
You mentioned about it's about 50% of us will know someone with dementia. I mean, one of the statistics we've got here is by 2025, an estimated over 1 million people in the UK will have a diagnosis of dementia, which is a hell of a lot. So, in terms of the Admiral nurses, it's even more important now in terms of what the specialist nurses do and how they help. I mean, is there anything in terms? You say there was 350, and you got a target to go up a bit more. Is it really just down to funding?
It's down to funding. So it takes a lot of effort. What what we do as a charity is set up, and oftentimes we're working closely with sort of care services in the community that are already established. So that might be, as I mentioned previously, like a hospital or a A&E department or a care home, for example, as well. And so the Admiral Nurses, you know, it can take anywhere between sort of 3 to 6 to 10 years just to set up and get that contract in place. And so and what we do then as a charity is we often funds the placement, so fund the salary of the Admiral Nurse for the first 2 years, and aim to provide the evidence in the first 2 years of you know, the case for support, basically, for that Admiral Nurse position to continue. And then ideally the care provider would take on the Admiral Nurse and the salaries and stuff like that. But however, we will always continue to fund the practice and professional development of those Admiral Nurses, because as part of being specialists in dementia care, they need to have like the top knowledge and access to that. And so currently, I think, you know, they get ongoing support from Dementia UK and through forums and sort of get-togethers to share knowledge and also to share their understandings. And you know, specific cases and things like that. So they still, it's not that they're sort of then off, you know, siloed off into the communities and off on their own. It's that
never to be seen again, you know.
We are in direct contact and we manage those positions, and they have a framework of support for themselves that we still manage, and so a lot of the funding goes towards that as well. And it's you know, meeting and speaking with some of the Admiral Nurses that I've you know, had the privilege to meet and speak to. You know, they're absolutely wonderful. A lot of them have come from nursing backgrounds and decided to, you know, specialize in dementia and well, you know, I meet most people on the helpline and you can't imagine how hard these people work to get through the thousands of calls that we get, you know, from different people.
I can imagine. And you know, as we segue through, you know, from Admiral Nurses to London Marathon, I know that obviously with a lot, having worked with other charities, Dementia UK is no different, where we have a build-up each week, each month of events, online events. And the next one, I did see that you've got an Admiral Nurse who has run London Marathon as a fundraiser, which is fantastic to see. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. So I can't make it live at the time, so I know it's broadcast live via Zoom, but I'll watch the recording. But it must be quite heartwarming when you see someone. It's like, you know, it's not quite a busman's holiday, because this, you know, this isn't a holiday, but it's you know, you're doing something to raise something in something that you actually do. You know, it's a bit like, I don't know, the CEO of London Marathon running London Marathon, you know. An Admiral Nurse. But can you explain how we can help? I mentioned about the link in terms of donating, but there's other ways that people can help in terms of London Marathon and other events as well, as you say, challenge and adventures. So, you know, fire away, Will, in terms of how people can help and support Dementia UK.
So you know, I mean, goes without saying, we mentioned it already, but, you know, supporting your journey and others, if you know other people running for Dementia UK, but you know, making a donation, however great or small, really it does help. You know, £5 can cover the call costs of two families calling in their time of crisis. So, you know, that small amount still goes a long way, and you know, directly impacts people in their time of need. Obviously, it costs a lot more to place Admiral Nurses in post and do all of that. So we always, you know, give as much as you can. We know times are tight, but it's you know, know that we are relying on those voluntary donations, and those Admiral Nurses wouldn't exist without your support. And then, you know,
on the day,
there are plenty of runners that are watching this and listening to our conversation. So, you know, if you've been, you know, touched by dementia, or you know of someone living with dementia, then get in touch. You know, we'll post a link to the website and our challenge events. We've got places in various charity places in various different events. We're in, you know, London Marathon. For the cyclists out there, we're also in Ride London.
Yeah.
And we've got ambitions to join Swim Serpentine. So hopefully the classics, we can offer people the opportunity to complete the classics, which, you know,
because that's the 3 medals in one, isn't it?
That is, yeah. It's quite it's quite an ambitious thing to do it all in 1 year, I think. But I've always thought that would be a super challenge for those sort of triathletes out there. And actually, I say it's in 1 year, it would be an amazing feat, but you know, it's not time constricted. You know, once you've done each event, you get the medal for each one, and then you're given this big bronze. For those that love their medals. But yeah, and then we also have places in other events. So you know, Royal Parks, which happens the weekend afterwards. We're in the Brighton Marathon for those marathon runners out there. We're in the London Landmarks Half Marathon as well, which is around the same time as London Marathon next year, once it returns to its slot in April. And yeah, I mean, many more challenges, you know, for those that and other ways of fundraising as well. So, you know, we've got a community team that support people if they want to do bake sales and other things in the workplace. There are many different ways to support. One thing I would mention as well is, if you are taking on a challenge and you're fundraising, it's always really worthwhile to get in touch with your employer. There are often many schemes out there to match your fundraising and to do that. And if you are a UK taxpayer and you're making a donation, please always remember to gift aid it. That's a scheme so that we get 25%, or we can claim back 25% of the donation amount from the government, which is absolutely fantastic and really goes a long way to support us as well. There are, you know, for those that don't run, or, you know, don't want to get involved in the fundraising aspect, we are also always looking for volunteers on event days as well. So, you know, you could join us to cheer on Donato on the day. And I'll
supply the link to that. There is a link that people can join in.
Absolutely, yeah. That would be fantastic. We're hoping to have a few cheer points around the course.
There are vital mileage points as well, aren't they?
Exactly.
2 or 3 mileage points. Which ones are you at?
So we're looking at mile 17, and mile 17, and we're hoping to be on Tower Bridge this year as well. So that's
so around mile
20k mark. So that's where we'll be on the day, and then we also we hold a sort of post race reception for the runners as well, which will be on Pall Mall this year, and we're hoping to invite all the runners and their families to come and celebrate their amazing achievements. So there's volunteering opportunities there as well.
I'll have to keep an eye out for you at Tower Bridge and mile 17, whether you be on left and right, because I will be running with my trusty GoPro and filming it as I go along, just to add a bit more, memories, because obviously I don't plan on doing many of these, so I like recording it and having
Isn't this your third?
This is the third London, but it's good having a diary of each event, a video diary, and I do get to chat to lots of people whilst we're running, because a marathon is a long way, and it's good to chat with people as you go along.
Absolutely,
for those who aren't able to chat whilst we go along.
The spirit of the day as well is just absolutely second to none, really, isn't it?
It is fantastic. And as you said, there is also, just as a prompt, there is some specialist dementia support contact helpline, so I'll include that link as well. But it would be fabulous to see you guys watching. And I know a lot of you in London, around London, whether you're watching it on BBC, it'd be fantastic if you can help out, both, as I say, in terms of the donations on the fundraising page, but also to join in with the event volunteers with Dementia UK, whether it be at Tower Bridge or mile 17. And maybe, I guess, they'll be wearing similar shirts or hats or mugs or whatever, and waving. So hopefully I can spot the colours, and you can spot me as well.
T-shirts. We always take them along so people can spot us at our cheer points, and you're gonna. I think you said you'll post the link to the form to sign up. So if you do want to come along on the day and cheer with Dementia UK, more than welcome. Bring as many people as you like. We're hoping to have a big crowd to give everyone, Donato included, on Team Dementia UK, a massive cheer as they go around. I know it's really appreciated, and helps with the motivation, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I'm so looking forward to it. I can't express in words how much I'm looking forward to this. And mile 17, for those who haven't run London Marathon, or for any marathon really, mile 17 is a crucial point. And it's obviously you've selected that very carefully. You obviously know your stuff, you guys, because mile 17 is where it can begin to get challenging, because you've got just 9 miles. I say just 9 miles because you've already done 17. But that's where you get to the what I call the meaty end, or beefy end, or if you're vegan, maybe the tofu end. But it's getting a little bit hard. But obviously you are getting pulled by the crowds. And if the last one, October, as I say, this will be hopefully my 3rd one, it seems to have got bigger and bigger, and the support, I mean, some of the sections I couldn't hear myself think, which is great, because obviously, when you're not feeling good, after X miles, you don't want to hear yourself and thinking, but the noise is unbelievable. And as I say, I'm absolutely busting to go. Not right now. I'd like to recover over this off, but all I can say, Will, is thank you so much for your time coming on here. I've really appreciated this, and I'm sure everybody watching will show their appreciation in the comments below, in terms of and if there's anybody who has got any questions or concerns, then feel free to leave it in the comments below, or you can privately email. If you want to keep it private, you can email me at poetwithpace@gmail.com. If you want to follow me on the socials, you've got Poet with Pace on Twitter and Instagram. I think I'm on Facebook as well. Don't use that much, but you can connect with me on there. And of course, the ticker tape, as I take that, you can donate to my Dementia UK fundraising by following the Just Giving link below, which I should have had that ticker tape flowing through all the way through. But hey, people will know where to go, because those who do listen religiously will be here to the very end. And as I say, words not enough to express my gratitude, Will, in giving your time here on this recording. And I'm sure we can look back on this with great memories. And I look forward to seeing you in person, if not before, at London Marathon, and where we can celebrate not only for my Aunt Carmela's life, but the many others out there who've lived with dementia, and their friends and family. So thank you so much. I mean, all I can say is chin chin, raise your glass. God bless everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Will. Cheers. All the best, everybody. I've got to get my hand on camera. Wave, wave, wave. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.